Wonderful. Hey, it's so great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out for the program. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You bet. So before we get into your good work, publishing, and all of the lives you're changing with the work you're doing, I want to know this. 5 years ago, this pandemic changed so many things about publishing, our lives, all kinds of things. How did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you live life today?
Hmm. So you're taking me back to COVID.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. But it was very funny because it was at that point that my first publishing company, Niv Publishing, which is nowadays the largest publishing house in Israel, and I got that company to the point that I have a management team and I could rest a little bit. I could travel the world. But suddenly there are no flights, you know. So I was stuck at my home, and that gave me time to think. And actually, what I thought about is the future of publishing because I realized that AI will probably revolutionize everything, and I better do something about it, and I better do it quickly. And so about I don't know, 6 months after COVID started, I started uh, to to think about what eventually became Spines. Okay, it started as a side project in Niv Publishing, but eventually it turned out to be. Just a second, I'll put my phone on mute. It turned out to be much bigger than what Niv Publishing will ever be. So. But
But
it
that
started at COVID.
Yeah, right. Well, and that was the time that everybody was at home. They all had stories. They all were thinking about doing things like publishing a book. I mean, if there was ever a time where we all collectively had to
Mm.
look ourselves in the mirror and say, what do we want to do with our lives? I would say publishing would be one of the top things that people were interested in.
So many books were written throughout the COVID pandemic because finally people got time to themselves. It's like they were forced to stay at home and how how many hours can you spend on Netflix or scrolling on social media? Eventually, you will start to create something, okay? And anyone can start writing. It's simple. You just open a Google Doc file or a Microsoft Word file, and you just start. You
Yeah.
know, so a lot of people finally got this chance to have time for themselves and they start writing their own book and it's funny because I remember that particular year was a very good year for publishing, okay, because not only people wrote more books but people read more books
Yeah.
because finally they got time to read and explore new books and then there was a total shift from physical bookstores to online bookstores, okay? And 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 our store in Israel, our online bookstore, it just exploded
Yeah.
on the COVID time because people actually had more time to read. So, yes.
The one thing that's interesting about this modern era we're living in right now is the whole idea of AI and how that's going to become a part of this process. And I'm going to set this question up this way. For oh man, it's been 10 years. There's been certain Novembers. There used to be a contest or a thing called the November Writing Month. Are you familiar with it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Of course.
So you would write your own book over 30 days, and I've done it a handful of times. And this year I was going to do it, and it's gone. And it's gone because they sponsored some AI contest that went awry, and now it's gone. And my question to you is this: how much of living through this modern era of people manufacturing AI things is going to be a part, either a detriment
Mhm.
or a boost to what you're doing with publishing?
Okay, so it's when we announced our Series A, for me it was very exciting, but I did one mistake. I told to the press that we're about to publish 6 to 8,000 books on 2025. Okay, and I said the word books. I didn't say the word authors.
Oh,
And that's a huge difference because if you're an AI publishing company and you state that you're about to publish 8,000 books, the lazy people who read only the headline, what they think you're about to generate 8,000 titles and publish them.
yeah,
But that's actually the opposite of what we do in Spines because we are here to empower authors, not to replace them. So the whole books we are publishing, they are books that were written by real humans. Okay, the author has to write his own book, and then we will use our AI tools to publish them. So what I should have told to the press is I'm about to publish 6,000 authors,
yeah,
not 6,000 books.
yeah.
Okay, it's a huge difference. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so my vision is the reason why we are publishing books is because that's the only medium we have that can last ages, okay, and stand the test of time. The only reason we know what happened on planet Earth 3,000 years ago is because people actually wrote about what happened.
Yeah,
And who knows if the internet and all the knowledge that's been online, who know if it will stay, but books that has been published and printed, someone will find them in 3,000 years.
yep,
So going back to your question, is AI will write books better than humans? Eventually, yes. Okay. May those books eventually someday will be read more than human originated books? Probably yes. However, when an AI writing a book and people reading it, whose legacy we are living on this planet.
uh-huh,
So my mission with Spines is to help authors publish their books because I want to leave their legacy on the planet. I want to make sure that their ideas, their stories, their professional experience is here available for ages to come. And if it's generated by AI, like why should I even want to publish it? Okay, I
yeah,
want to publish real human beings.
absolutely.
But I think that in the coming years we will see more and more AI generated content, and I think that content will be very cheap.
Yeah,
So for example, you can buy your chair from IKEA and you have I don't know, $40 chair, but if you want to go to an artist to recreate this amazing chair, it will cost much more. Okay.
yeah,
So same thing will go probably with books.
yeah,
You will probably have an app that generate content and you can read it. Okay, and it's cost $1 per month. I don't know, but if you want to read real human content, who know? Maybe eventually it will be much more expensive. So I think this is the transition we are going through. Same things that happens with furniture probably would happen with human writing or AI writing.
yeah, for sure. So let's get to the heart and soul of exactly what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in
Sure.
front of a bunch of kids at school. They're 12 years old. It's career day, and they want to know what you do for a living. How do you answer them?
So what we do, we take manuscripts that have been written by real human, and we publish them with the power of AI. So the AI take care of the editing, of the proofreading, of the formatting, of the cover design. We can even create an AI narrated audiobook, so we can sample your own voice and doing the audiobook version of the whole book with your voice. Instead of you going to 40 hours into a studio, we can use AI to do that. And then we distribute the book across 100 distribution channels worldwide. So the book will be available anywhere on the planet. And we can also translate the book to more languages. So instead of you having your book available only for the American audience, why not translate it to Spanish? And now you can double your audience. And we can do that with AI as well. And of course, we can help with marketing. So everything the authors needs from A to Z is in one place, complete very, very fast and very affordable, and done with AI, powered by AI. Okay.
Absolutely. So what did you want to be at 12 years old? What was your dream life?
I wanted to be an astronaut.
Okay.
Maybe one day I will. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, of course. So let's go to the beginnings. How did becoming an entrepreneur, how did books, words, how did all of these things get
Mm.
cultivated into who you are and become your career?
So I actually studied electronics engineering. Okay. And when I was halfway throughout my master's degree at electronics engineering, I published my first book. And then I realized that, okay, publishing is completely broken. Okay. Those publishers has no clue about the opportunities of the new era. They understood nothing about social media. Okay. They understood nothing about tools that can help you do the process simpler and faster. And I decided that I better do something about it. So I started Niv Publishing. I knew nothing back in the day about publishing. I knew nothing about business. It was my first venture. It was completely bootstrap. I started in my dorm room when I was a student. But somehow, I was able to find good mentors and I learned about business. And what started in my dorm room, 13 years after that, nowadays, Niv Publishing is the largest publishing house in Israel, responsible for 1,200 titles every year, which the whole Israeli market is about 7,000 titles. So we are 18% of the Israeli market. And that was done throughout the past 13 years and and 5 years ago, even 6 years ago, I finished structuring the management team in Niv Publishing. I got my life back. I had a chance to travel the world before COVID, and I actually started to do some angel investing in startups. Okay, and that's when I came across this AI that is being emerged and eventually will revolutionize everything, publishing included. So
Yeah.
this is when I started working on spines. And to date, I raised to spines $22.5 million from top tier investors. Oren Zev is he led our Series A. He's one of the top tier investors in the Silicon Valley. Also, our seed round was led by Aleph. He's one of the top tier VCs in Israel, responsible for many Israeli globally successful companies, and we've been growing very fast. Just last month, we onboarded 500 new authors to Spines. Okay, so we are growing like crazy, and it's amazing because it's started as an idea. Who knows if AI will ever be able to do all of those amazing stuff? And it's actually possible, and it's actually working, and our authors loving it. They're our best ambassadors. That's why we are able to grow so fast.
So, what was the first book that you read that made you want to write, made you want to read more? What turned the light bulb on for you?
Hmm. So, throughout my military service in Israel, I was on a train and I read a book of Israeli author named Ilan Heitner. Okay, the book is it's a funny book, like very like it's book of nonsense. The name of the book is The King of the Hummus and the Queen of the something. I don't know, something like that. It's like nonsense. But when I read it, I told myself, wow, that's amazing. I
Yeah.
can do that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And that gave me this first idea that I can actually write my own book. And it took me about 4 years to write my first book.
Wow.
Okay, I restructure it again and again and again, but eventually I realized, okay, I probably can keep working on that for decades to come. It will never be perfect. Okay, I have to push that through. And actually, when I published it, I was 4 years after that. I was about to finish my master's degree at electronics engineering, and but when it got published, I realized, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to help authors to not to do not experience what I had experienced in my publishing process. So this is why it started everything.
Yeah. So, who's been your hero? Who's been your inspirational force that's allowed you to have this career?
Wow, that's a great question. I think one of my first mentors, Alon Verber, is um, Previously, he was the CEO of Pixelot. He's one of the most successful sport tech companies in Israel, and I think it's his sixth company. So he is he created so much value in being a tech CEO of amazing companies, and I actually got a chance to learn from him. And a lot of things that I know about business, I learned from him. At the beginning, we were like about, I don't know, 13 years ago, 11 years ago. We were meeting for coffee once every 2 weeks, and I got a lot of ideas and a lot of knowledge and a lot of actually actions that I need to do in order to develop the business. And actually, until yesterday I had a call with him, okay, and I asked him more questions. So he's like my go-to guy whenever I'm struggling with management problem or I don't know, strategic problem, something that I don't know how to solve. I just give him a call and he gives me an answer, and I'm like, okay, that's what I should do. So it's having this very experienced CEO on speed dial to help. It's I think that's the most important thing that every entrepreneur should have. And he is my first mentor. Since then, I had quite more, but he is my first, and until this day, I'm learning a lot from him. So
Wonderful. So let me ask you this. What what is it that motivates you to publish all of these authors, to be a good entrepreneur, to take care of yourself every day? What is ultimately the energy for you to respond to your alarm clock in the morning and do a good job every day?
amazing question. So just a funny fact, I'm doing my best to do not wake up with alarm clock. Okay. I believe in waking up when I finished resting. So I structured my day in a very similar way. So my morning are quite available. But about I think 7 or 8 years ago, one of my mentors back in the day was Dan Pena. Okay, he called himself the $1 trillion guy. Okay, the $1 trillion man, and he told me something. He told me you need to figure out how can you affect at least 1 billion people in your lifetime. And when he told me that, I was so far away from where I'm now, and I'm like, how? Like there is no way I will be able to do that. But then I start to think about this inspiring things that he said, and I start to think about it more practically. And I okay, every book that I will publish will probably affect 1,000 people on average. Some will affect only 5 or 10 people, but some of them will be bestseller and affect hundreds of thousands of people. On average, let's say 1,000 people were affected by each title on average. Okay, so if I were able to publish 1 million authors or 1 million books in my lifetime, that's my way to affect 1 billion people. And when I got the idea of spines, it's that's the best leverage possible because AI allows me to leverage. It's instead of hiring thousands of people, I can hire much less than that, but give that same value. Okay, so um um so leveraging AI, leveraging VC capital, okay, as well, is building a value very quickly from money I didn't had to earn, but I was able to raise, okay, to develop this technology that allows me to help more people on scale. So all of that is only being available because of the AI revolution, because the skill I developed to raise from VCs, and that's actually my chance to being able to publish at least 1 million authors in my lifetime, and by doing that, affect 1 billion people. This is like my my driver. So
Absolutely. So let's say you had a dream tonight. You ran into the 16-year-old version of you, and you had a book in your hands, a big coffee table book, and you handed it to that young version, and you said, "This is how your life turned out," would that young version of you believe it?
No chance. Back in the day, my dream was to be a musician. I was writing songs, and like I had this dream of become a very successful musician, but it never happened. So, I just moved away from that in my 20s. So, yes.
So, what was the first live concert you saw? What was the music that pulled you into that world?
Wow. That's a very nice story because when I was 16, even no, when I was 15, um, I had a stubborn, like I wasn't speak smooth, like I was stuck in my words. And I realized that when I'm actually composing my own songs, I can perform them without a stop. It's
Yeah.
like something that and so when I was 15, there was a music competition in my school, and I actually participated in that, and I won the first place. And for me, that was the moment that I read, okay, maybe music, that's my direction.
Yeah.
But it's helped me to fix my speaking, and now I'm speaking with no problems. But my career went like engineering and then publishing, and what I'm doing now. So
I interviewed somebody about 2 months ago that was in charge of the largest digital database for electronic music. And he's also a musician, but historically, he's had issues with stuttering. And he said the same thing. When he did music, it went away. Just
yes,
that if there is ever another reason why music is such an essential ingredient to mental health on the planet for the human population, that's it. That's another reason right there. It's paramount.
exactly,
So let me ask you this. Of
exactly.
everything that you've accomplished, overcome, and evolved to at this point in your life, what are you ultimately the happiest about, proudest of?
I think our authors, like every one of them, it's a human being with a dream that somehow I helped him to realize this dream, okay, to realize his publishing dream. And in Israel, we have about 10,000 authors. In Spines, we already have about 6,000 authors. It's 16,000 authors that I actually was responsible somehow to getting their publishing dream being realized, and still far away from a million, but I'm getting there.
Yeah. I love it. You know what's interesting when I think about Israel, when I got into reading, I read a lot about the Russian revolutionaries and Dostoevsky and that kind of era. Like when you live in a country that's kind of somehow walking on that line between war and peace all the time, and Israel tends to have that history, you probably
Yes.
get amazing stories, don't you?
Yes, and October 7th was like so many books were written about one day,
Yeah.
October 7th.
Uh-huh.
This is, since the Holocaust, I don't think the Jews had something similar to that. Okay, and it's happened in one day that changed the perspective of like even let's say the most let's say um uh, peaceful minded people who like lived in their own bubbles, that we're safe and everything is okay, and then terror attacks at their backyard and their loved one killed in front of their faces, and like you cannot stay ignorant to that. It's something that everyone in Israel knows someone who got murdered in that day, and a lot of books, very very driven from pain, were written. Very hard books to read, but I think they are very important because it's something that Israel and Jews has to make sure will never happen again.
For sure.
And by the way, not only for Jews and Israel, I don't think any nation and any kind of citizen everywhere on the planet should have experienced that. It's and it's something that shouldn't ever happens, never, and it's so that's another thing that when you're writing about that, you are making that those bad memories, okay, to stay and for people to actually be able to read those stories and to be reminded that okay, this is something that we need to prevent.
Yeah.
Okay, this is something that we cannot allow to happen again. And this is why writing is so important.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
it's yes.
It's paramount. So let's get to the heart and soul of you. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, everyone that you work with, everyone that you publish, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Depends on who you are asking. Okay, but I like whenever I'm awake, I'm working. Okay, I don't have rest days. I don't go on vacations. I only work. And I have a very strong drive to make this vision a reality. And I believe that being an entrepreneur, a company founder, it's so hard. Like all the odds are against you, okay? And the only way to win those odds is by working very, very hard and pushing through everything that happens. And I'm very grateful that I have this amazing team with me, okay, which they are all of them are crazy like me, like working 24/7. And I have an amazing investors that believe in my vision, in our vision, and helping me to actually make that a reality. And it's and people looks at our progress and think it's amazing. And for me, when I'm looking at that, I'm just like, we just started,
Yeah.
like we just started.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. Spines.com is where everybody should go if they want to dive in. Anything else anybody needs to know? Any other locations?
Spines.com, everything is there.
Okay.
You can follow us on Instagram, on
Okay.
TikTok, but Spines.com, that's where you should go.
Okay. I will put all those links in the show notes. So good to meet you, man. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for spreading the joy. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.